Welcome, everyone. It's a special Labor Day edition of the Film Threat Friday Livecast. Tons of news stories here. Megalopolis, Jurassic World. We might talk about the Acolyte just a little bit. Plus, movies in theaters this weekend, including Slingshot, City of Dreams, and more. Alan Ng is waiting in the wings. I'm going to bring him on the show. Don't worry about it. So let's get things started. Let's go. I'm at DragonCon, folks. Let's go. He's just, I don't know.
Okay. Chris. How the hell do you work with this man? Okay, hold on, I'll say it. Alan.
That didn't work. God.
I was thinking, Chris, why Alan hides from you every week. Well, anyway, let's just call him Alan.
Nope.
Damn you, Alan. How dare you hide from Mr. Gore? Alan.
Well, that worked. It only took Batman to get you on the show.
I know. If Angelina Jolie ever woke me up like that, I'd be in heaven.
You'd be up in a minute.
I'd be up at.
You'd be up quickly.
I know. Many things would be up at that moment.
Well, there you go. Hey man, so I'm at DragonCon. It is awesome. I'm hanging with my friend Shane Mackey. Here's the program guide. Anyone that knows who has been to DragonCon knows it's very different than other conventions. It's like Mardi Gras, but with costumes, cosplay. So it's like connected hotels. Everyone dresses up. Everyone is drinking and drunk. And
So are there beads and boobies?
There's definitely cleavage, I'll tell you that, and not just on the women. But no, it's a blast, and I have a panel later today. Like after I finish the stream, I'm doing Gore on Horror with my friend Shane Mackey and Bobby Lapierre and Bradley Gibson from Film Threat.
Yeah, say hi to them for me, by the way.
I will. It's at 4 p.m. Today. That's East Coast time at the Westin Hotel. So, and we will film the panel. We will video the panel and post that video on Film Threat. And I'm going to be doing 2 live streams. I hope we can do it live. I tested it last night and I'm getting a signal in the hotels. So I'm going to try to do it live later tonight. So I've got the panel, then later tonight, a live stream live from DragonCon. I'll do it again on Saturday to give people a taste of what it's like. And if you go to our members only, join us as a member, there is lots of videos. We've been posting a lot of Q&As and, coverage from premieres. So check that out for everyone. And also, because it's a very special day, I think it's important that we commemorate this day with something magical.
Alan, you are my density. You're not going to say anything?
Yeah, I wish I was the one dying.
Why did you say that? Oh my God.
Improv.
Yes. Let's get to it. We have a lot of news stories to go over today. So let's do it. Let's talk about Megalopolis.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm starting to understand the why the reviews are not good for Megalopolis.
Uh-oh. Please read if you would, Alan.
All right, here we go. Headline. This is from Variety. Francis Ford Coppola didn't want Megalopolis to be some woke Hollywood production and says the cast includes people who are canceled.
Ooh.
Francis Ford Coppola told Rolling Stone that his intention with Megalopolis was to make a movie that could not be deemed some woke Hollywood production. The cast includes controversial actors such as Jon Voight, who has turned heads in Hollywood for his conservative views and outspoken support of Donald Trump, and Shia LaBeouf, who is accused of sexual assault. I mean, I find this interesting that what makes Jon Voight controversial is that he's a conservative and supports Trump.
So that's it. So if you have your own political views, your opinion, you are only punished if you have one political view from one side. Am I understanding it correctly?
Yeah, I mean, what other than his relationship with Angelina Jolie, what other controversies has Jon Voight ever been involved in? He supports the troops. He supports veterans. I'm not saying that we are picking a side in the political debate, but we just find it interesting that when you pick a side in the political debate, you now become controversial.
Right, but it's only one side, and it's only the mainstream media that tends to do this. They don't. First of all, actors can have whatever political opinions they want. I think it's foolish to, push your views if it's something that's not controversial, like, hey, let's plant some trees, let's support education in film, let's or film preservation. I think there are plenty of not controversial views, and I don't think any of those views are left or right wing, like let's solve homelessness. No matter how much money they spend on it, they seem to not be able to solve it, whatever that means. Yeah. But controversial is only being on one side of the political aisle. I think it's foolish. I think actors should be able to do that. I think it comes with a risk, and we'll get to that later because The Acolyte is still in the news because of a video that dropped from the star Amandla Stenberg. We'll look at it. But
let me just add to that. I watched this interview with the cast of Reagan. So Dennis Quaid, Penelope Ann Miller, Dan Lauria. That cast was, they said, yes, mostly conservatives, but there are a lot of Democrats, Harris supporters on it. And the topic of this interview was the fact that we, as, people left and right, probably agree on about 70% of things. But we've demonized that 30%.
Right.
And it's almost as if you just legislated based on the 70%, the things that we all agree on, this country would be a much better place. And we can continue to haggle over that 30%. This is the thing. Hollywood is, I think, especially since the 60s, has been pretty liberal. It's just turned up so much to where, being on the other side now makes you controversial.
Right.
All right. So go ahead.
No, I think it's unfortunate. And I'll say this. Film Threat is a politically agnostic outlet. Mm-hmm. We will review, say, a drag queen documentary, and we will review movies released by the Daily Wire, which a lot of outlets tend to ignore. Mm-hmm. We are we don't really take a stand, and we will review any indie film. Now, you and I have our own personal views. You are, Alan, I say, looking at your Twitter feed, I wouldn't say you're controversial. I think it's funny. I think when you comment on politics, sometimes it's hard to tell where you stand. I mean,
but you know.
But I think I know because I know you. But anyone that doesn't know you is like, hey, I agree with him. But it's like you can't really. You're very good.
I guess the term is a Rorschach test.
Yeah, it is a Rorschach test.
When you read my feed, I want you to kind of, I want you to think about it from both sides.
Yeah, but it's also funny. I tend to do that too. When I comment on anything political, I try to make it funny at least, or at least have some insight without like pushing something.
Yeah, but when you do it, you get millions of comments. Most of them hate, and then
Yeah,
people make videos about it. And the Mary Sue will write an entire article about it.
But also I don't care. So there you go. I whatever. But no, this is smart, but also it explains why the movie is getting mixed reviews. And I go into every movie. I try to not bring in baggage about an actor or a director when it comes to a film. I go into the film, I judge the film as a film. The outside noise that's all around a film, like actors' comments or this, I try to put that aside and judge it fairly. For example, The Acolyte, I feel we judged it very fairly.
I think so.
And there was a lot of outside noise that was just, and we'll get to that later, but it doesn't change the work. Yeah. The work was, in the case of The Acolyte, just subpar, terrible, can't believe it was made, awful writing, and embarrassment. And it says that really Star Wars has reached rock bottom. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and look at our coverage of The Acolyte and our criticisms of The Acolyte, we never brought race into it. We may have brought in DEI practices, but we never, it was never the reason it was bad was never by the fact that there was a diverse cast in it, and it was never about, let's say, Helen being a lesbian. It was just about it being a horrible, horrible story, and a lore killing story at that too.
Right.
All right. Coppola continue. Well, you want to continue or
no? Go ahead, and then we'll go to comments.
Okay. Coppola continues. What I didn't want to happen is that we're deemed some woke Hollywood production that's simply lecturing viewers. The cast features people who were canceled at one point or another. There were people who are arch conservatives and others who are extremely politically progressive, but we were all working on one film together. That was interesting, I thought. As far as work, let's see, I'm going to skip Shia LaBeouf. You can read that. Megalopolis star Adam Driver as an architect Megalopolis stars Adam Driver as an architect with dreams of building a utopian city after a catastrophic incident leaves a New York-like metropolis in ruins. His plan is to make an enemy of the city's ruthless mayor and other political figures. The supporting cast also includes Aubrey Plaza, Dustin Hoffman, Lawrence Fishburne, Giancarlo Esposito, and Natalie Emmanuel. Controversy has engulfed Megalopolis since its premiere at the Cannes Film Festival, where it sharply divided critics. Reports of Coppola's alleged misconduct on the set surfaced at around the same time, including claims that he kissed extras during the filming of a party scene. An additional controversy erupted this month when the Lionsgate debuted the trailer for Megalopolis and then had to pull it because of made-up quotes from movie critics. And Megalopolis comes out September 23rd.
Well, I, for one, can't wait to see it. We will review it here on this channel. And kudos to Coppola. Kudos to Coppola for taking the risk. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I want to say that the sharply divided by critics, I'm starting to feel like it's not about the quality of the movie that is dividing critics. But
right.
The fact that
and are critics divided? They haven't, for the most part, most critics haven't seen it yet. Mm-hmm. How can they be divided? And we have to get past this thing of this person has a political view, so I'm going to not like things that they're in and not support it. I think that's infantile, but I think actors would be wise to, maybe get behind some things that everyone can agree upon, which is, as you pointed out, 70% of issues we're kind of on the same page, like we should be, especially when it comes to the economy, which I believe is broken. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
I know. I saw an interview last night that said it wasn't broken. So
yeah, I didn't see that. Let's I'll wait to see it for myself. Yeah. Let's go to comments here. This is the best comment of the day.
Okay. The nerd far away, I gotta say, Chris is crispy looking foxy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And then I like your banner in the background, by the way.
Yes, the banner says carpet burn, and it's DragonCon. It's a Drunken Dragon Hotel right there. My buddy Shane, his girlfriend Gina, got that for me just for the show.
Oh,
so there you go.
How nice. Bill W. Base Coppola.
And then important comment here.
Yes, Brock Samsonite. Did anyone in gear manage to get the badass Batman popcorn?
Not only did Alan get one, Alan, being a great friend, got me a popcorn bucket. And then I had like 3 other friends get me popcorn buckets.
Yeah, there's mine back here.
Yeah,
nice. I left on.
Well, I intend to put the buckets in every room in my place so I can turn on the light and the light will shine the beacon of the bat signal. So yes, like I had people sending me photos. Do you want me to get the cup too? So I'm good on the Batman buckets, although I do see they're being sold on eBay for 2 and 3 times the price. Like $80, $100. So there you go.
Well, then you may not get that extra popcorn bucket.
More comments here. Thank you, Brock.
Andrew Cram, member for 7 months. Thank you for the support, Andrew. Interesting conversation as always, guys.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I really don't like the division, and no one is doing anything to turn down the temperature.
Well, apparently Francis Ford Coppola is.
Well, I hope that he is.
Yeah.
So right here from Beerosaurus Rex.
Yeah, Beerosaurus Rex for 5 Canadian. Thank you. Film Threat, bring up the Acolyte is like someone naming a file final .pdf.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, Razorburn.
Member for 8 months. Again, thank you for the support, Razorburn. Chris, I'm here at DragonCon, picking up my badge, want to meet. Hey, where can they meet you, Chris?
There is a Film Threat meetup. First of all, come to the panel, 4 p.m. at Peach Tree 1 and 2 in the Westin. Directly after the panel, we're going down to the bar at the Westin for a Film Threat meetup at 5. I'm meeting a lot of people, so please go there. And Razorburn, I will see you in person. Thank you for being a member. And we forgot to do this right here from Lord Thoth.
From the Lord of Thoth. Like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, sign up as a member, join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram, and buy our merch at shop.filmthreat.com.
And the merch is on fire. We have new designs that will roll out in September. I got my Beetlejuice-inspired shirt. We have Halloween-inspired shirts going up in October. We're doing a whole store, like lots of new. And believe it or not, we have a very special, for the first time, Celebrities Poop. I'm going to say
controversial.
It's controversial book that features celebrities pooping. That's right. Everyone from Oprah to I don't know if I can show this pic. We're not going to show these pics, but celebrity poop is available in the Film Threat shop. Get it while you can. There's a limited number of copies available, so check those out and get yourself a Film Threat shirt here. There's lots of
Oprah pooping.
Look at these shirt designs. I love it. So many to choose from. Pick one that you like. Every shirt is custom. You pick the color, the size, and the design, and we will make it for you. We're always adding new stuff. And what we're going to do is every month we're going to add we will be adding a custom shirt. Like this, I love this mug. I don't have it with me, but that's one of my favorite mugs, drinkware and accessories and hats. Just get it. All right. We have more stuff to talk about here.
All right.
Let's start with this one. Or let's go this. Winona Ryder is disappointed.
Yes. Let's pull that one up. If I can figure this out. There we go. Winona from IndieWire. Winona Ryder is disappointed by younger co-stars who aren't cinephiles. Actors should be interested in movies. For Winona Ryder, one of the strangest things of all is how Gen Z actors aren't actually interested in movies. Ryder, whose own stardom began at age 14 with her film debut in the 1986 Lucas, told the LA Times that the younger generation of stars today don't respect film history. I don't mean to sound so hopeless, Ryder said. There are a few that are just not interested in movies. Like the first thing they say is, how long is it? And so begins the guessing game of whom Ryder could be referring to. The Stranger Things and Beetlejuice actress quickly started ruling out potential anti-cinephiles, beginning with fellow film-obsessed actress Jenna Ortega. Ryder told the outlet that Ortega referenced Mikhail Kalatozov, 1964, I Am Cuba, which per the LA Times immediately impressed Ryder. Ryder says she almost wept hearing Ortega reference specific shots from the classic. Ryder's Stranger Things co-star Finn Wolfhard is a vocal fan of Elliot Gould's filmography. Sadie Sink and Hollywood royalty Maya Hawke were also ruled out by Ryder. I'm not a religious person, Ryder said. I'm not anti-religion, but I feel like the closest is film, and it's to me a very sacred thing. I feel so protective, but I'm not in any place to be in control. It's not up to me.
First of all, let me comment on this. It's important it's the one thing. There are 3 qualifications to write for Film Threat. You have to be passionate about film, right? Passionate, right? Because you're not, look, believe me, you're not getting paid a lot to write about movies these days. So passion. Number 2, grammatical and writing skill. It's important to know your strunk and white. Look that up. Strunk and white. Know your grammar. Like, can you write? And, you need to know that.
Yeah.
And the last thing, knowledge of film history. There is a common, when Alan and I have conversations, we have many connecting points. I can reference, say, a Pulp Fiction, or I can reference, say, a movie from the 80s, or I can reference, say, a movie from the 60s. I could reference the original West Side Story, directed by Robert Wise, starring
Natalie Wood.
There you go.
And Rita Moreno.
Right. We can go back. Film classics, great films, bad films. There is a language amongst film aficionados that is important. And the best actors, I will say this, the best actors, and Winona Ryder has been amazing in the fact that her career has spanned from when she was a child at 14 to now, and she looks amazing. Let's be honest. She looks really incredible. She's had that long of a career. She knows cinema, can use that word and speak to that. And the thing is this, there's so much to know in film. Not any one person can know it all. So it's a collective conversation where everyone brings something to the table. Maybe you know more about Asian cinema, or I know more about Godzilla movies, whatever. That was a stupid rep. Why did I say that?
No.
But what I'm saying is everyone knows, you can't know it all. People know sort of sections of cinema. Horror, you're not well-versed in horror. That's perfectly fine. You have other things you know a lot more about than I do. But having that common language of movies, you have to have seen the AFI's top 100 films, at least have seen those. And I agree. It's sad to see there's almost a lack of interest, which is why I feel like when you see the younger people in movies, they don't have that collective in your DNA knowledge of film past. What are your thoughts, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, when I see Gen Z posting on social media that the Acolyte, the Acolyte is the greatest story they've ever seen. And then you start seeing all these little posts of, how can you beat a scene like this? And they'll quote something from The Current Crow or something like that. It just shows you that they've not seen a movie that's older than 2016.
Right.
And it's sad. It's sad. There's this, for some reason, when during the Hollywood system, filmmakers were filmmakers. They were artists, and it was, when you have this giant screen, when you had CinemaScope, you need to fill that giant screen with interesting images. You need to know how to shoot things. The end of The Fabelmans, when they're talking about, is it John Ford, where they're talking about what's interesting and what's not.
What's interesting. The end of The Fabelmans, that last scene with David Lynch. Watch that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah, and it's all about composition.
Yeah,
that's what that scene is about. And in acting as well. To call certain actors, great. You've got to earn these things. You just can't bestow it upon people who haven't been in the game long enough or understand these things. And it just saddens me to know that to hear a young person say this is the greatest movie they've ever seen, and realize, no, you've not seen enough films to be able to make that statement.
Exactly. Let's go to comments here, starting with this.
All right, from Jeffro-Maddox, a member for 8 months. How about that Super/Man trailer?
I teared up during it. We're not going to show it because we'll get copyright struck. But man, what a great! I already bought tickets, so I can't wait to see it. I bought tickets for seeing it twice. I can't.
It's Fathom Events, by the way, so that's where you can get tickets. John Manalang, member for 25 months. Looking forward to reading celebrities poop while pooping.
Every person here's my recommendation: buy the book and put it in your bathroom. It's a curiosity, but it's a parody of the book by Taro Gomi, which is Everyone Poops. That is if you have kids, I had that book when my kids were young. We would read through it. It's a book of Everyone Poops. It's all animals pooping and these childlike drawings. Actually, my daughter did the illustrations in the book and modeled it off of that Taro Gomi book. So yeah, I hope you do buy it. Look, not many copies of that book were printed, so if you get it, it'll be rare.
Yeah. And your daughter was 3 when she did it, so amazing.
No, but yeah.
Mike MC Huang, Gen Z are not interested in movies, period. That's also true.
That's correct, Mike.
Yeah. KG Jung, those darn youngsters and their movie ignorance.
Yeah.
Gung Ho Mac, kind of like hearing people from a Star Wars show that hates Star Wars.
Hiring people
from a Star Wars show that hates Star Wars.
But I'll just say this: it's sad. Like, even look, when I was a kid, when I started Film Threat, I was 19 when the first issue of Film Threat magazine, a zine, came out. Okay, I was passionate. I tried to see everything. I saw French films, Asian cinema, just all types of movies. And I knew I needed to educate myself. I probably was, I know I was naive at the time, but I didn't expect to know everything. And I was curious and interested. So, yeah. And we got 20 gifted super chats. Is that right?
Yeah, 20 gifted memberships.
Who'd we get? Though, thank you. Who gave them?
It was Andrew Cram.
Andrew, thank you so much. Yes, gifted memberships. Go to join us on Discord, where I might show up one day.
1 month.
Alan's always there. And then also look at our members only videos. And then for members, we do giveaways. We're doing a giveaway. We just did a giveaway with Twisters video VOD codes. We have other giveaways coming up. We might do a Borderlands giveaway.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be hard. But thank you, Andrew, for that. New members, we appreciate it.
Yeah. By the way, let's not fight over the Borderlands giveaway.
Yeah, guys.
Be polite. Yes.
Don't fight. Don't fight. Let's go to our next news story here.
Wait. A toast. A toast to, yes, long friendship. cigars. Take one. Wow!
I love that movie so much.
We've got a lot of news stories here. Let's talk about this, Alan.
Okay,
This
so we're
was-
not going in order on the talk.
I'm going in order from. Look, let's not. I'm going in order from the things that were in the way it was. It's look. The order in the doc should be the order that the banners are in order. That's I should communicate to Lori about that.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
So, all right, we'll change it. Okay.
All right.
All right, whatever. Here we go. Marvel versus DC, apples and oranges, according to Sean Gunn. What
But
does he have
Brother
to say?
James brings more similarities.
All right.
All right, so this is from the Wrap.
Well, go to the headline.
Yes, that is the headline. It's sort of been a new process for them. The actor tells the Wrap. There's Sean Gunn right there. Sean Gunn is part of a fairly small club of actors who have starred in both Marvel Cinematic Universe and DC Universe on screen. But according to the Guardians of the Galaxy Star, it is a bit hard to compare the two superhero franchises. We all know where Gunn came from. I'm going to skip that. And though both DC and Marvel own the superhero movie landscape, Gunn told The Wrap at a Fan Expo Chicago that coming into the franchise at different times in their histories made a difference for him. I came into the whole process working at Marvel once the machine was kind of already running smoothly and doing well. DC, I've done Suicide Squad, but now they're kind of overhauling it. And it's new ever since my brother took over as head of the studio, he explained. It's sort of been a new process for them. So it would be, it's really kind of true, like trying to compare apples and oranges. Oh, you can edit these things, people. James Gunn. Okay, we know about James Gunn and Peter Safran are co-CEOs of DC Studios. I'm going to skip that part. They're making Superman. Sean Gunn noted that there is one overarching similarity between Marvel and DC for him that made both working both much easier and more familiar. God, this guy can't write.
Okay, no, wait. Let me pause you for a second. You don't have to say out loud your internal monologue. You can say, like, you can just read the relevant parts without saying, I'm not going to read that. You could just not read that.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm saying I'm giving color commentary over.
Yeah,
I want to make people know that I'm not skipping over something important.
That's look, just read the relevant parts. Skip what you don't need to read. I get these. By the way, these articles are always bloated. They are. I'm on your side, Alan. These articles are bloated. They include info as if you don't know the context, which I get. Some people don't, which is fine. Skip to the relevant. The point is, by the time you get to what's relevant in this article, it's generally a tweet or two sentences an actor said. So get to the relevant part, and then we can comment.
Okay, here we go. Here's the relevant part. Underneath it all, working with my brother is more similar than it is different to other things, he said. So the fact that I was working with James in Marvel and James in DC makes it actually, there's a lot more similarities in the process. Sean Gunn is set to show appear in both Creature Commandos and Superman. He tells The Wrap. Let's see, Maxwell Lord. He'll take on Maxwell Lord in Superman. Won't be based on any live action portrayals fans have seen before. It's all from written material with things that we figure we're looking at. Dear God.
So first of all, I think this is stating the obvious, right? I think there's definitely in the comic books a different tone to Marvel comics as opposed to DC comics. Having been a reader since I was a kid, literally 5 years old, reading comics. And then, all through high school and college. So, and then my eras of comic knowledge lapses because there was a period my kids were young. I didn't really read a lot of comics then. So there are a lot of lapses actually, but there are parts I know very well and I don't. So, but in general, I liked Marvel Comics for the fact that the superheroes seemed very human. You know, they had human problems like Peter Parker, you know. And then the DC heroes more like gods. But I like them both for different reasons. I like different eras. I love, you know, the 80s Dark Knight and Watchmen by Alan Moore. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting because this is Sean Gunn, who's working for his brother. And,
Right.
you know, honestly, it seems like his only experience with the two big studios is with his brother. And it's interesting to see that, you know, I appreciate James Gunn. This is going to be the controversial statement for me from today, but, you know, at least he knows comic books. At least he understands comic books. And at least he's bringing that sensibility to these movies. You can argue whether he's doing a good job at it or not. But, you know, again, when you talk about, I remember when they hired him as the co-CEO. And then when he said that he was going to do Superman, everyone was like, oh, but he doesn't understand the tone. He's going to just bring comedy to it. At the same time, though, who else could do this other than James Gunn?
Right.
Who else in Marvel and in DC has the depth of knowledge of comic books that James Gunn has? Sure, I think his lifelong love of comic books certainly has molded his style of filmmaking. But who else? You know, who else would you put on that list with him? And I, you know, saying that, I did look. Arguably, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is probably the most consistent franchise in the MCU.
Yeah,
and I think, you know, I'm very interested to see what he does with DC. And unlike Kathleen Kennedy, can he lead a movie studio?
I'll put my money on Gunn over Kennedy any day.
Absolutely.
Let's go to your comments here real quickly.
All right. From Ray Laka. No Gore. We love hearing Alan. See, there you go. Willie the Monkey King's music. But I want to hear Alan's internal monologue. Yes, because I'm thinking what everyone else is thinking. All right. And I'm saying it out loud. I'm saying what everyone's thinking out loud. Dr. Bucky. Hey, Bucky. Leave Alan alone. There you go, Chris. Because clearly Chris doesn't read YouTube comments because they're very similar to the
Fine.
AD Alice 24. It's amazing. Look, Rumble comments are now on StreamYard. AD Alice 24, because they fill the articles with SEO terms, something I've always loved that Film Threat reviews have always avoided. Yeah, we're not smart enough to write for SEO. Let's put it that way. Patrick Lemire, that guy is not good enough to write for Film Threat. What, James Gunn or?
I don't know. I don't know.
But we've had directors, we have filmmakers write for Film Threat.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk about this news that hit. I'm not sure how much you care about this, Alan.
I do not care about
Jurassic World Rebirth is coming in 2025. Did you know? And do you care? It's in theaters in July of 2025. A new era is born next summer, 3 years after. This is from a press release I'm reading, which I received by email. Next summer, 3 years after the Jurassic World trilogy concluded, with each film surpassing $1 billion at the global box office, the enduring Jurassic series evolves in an ingenious new direction with Jurassic World Rebirth. Anchored by iconic action superstar Scarlett Johansson is joining the franchise. Breakthrough talent Jonathan Bailey and two-time Oscar winner Mahershala Ali. That's a good cast. This action-packed new chapter sees an intrepid team racing to secure DNA samples from the three most colossal creatures across land, sea, and air. Also starring acclaimed international stars Rupert Friend, Manuel Garcia Rulfo. The film is directed by Gareth Edwards. Okay, Gareth Edwards. From a script by original Jurassic Park screenwriter David Koepp. Wow. 5 years. 5 years after the events of Jurassic World Dominion, the planet's ecology has proven largely inhospitable to dinosaurs. Those remaining exist in isolated equatorial environments with climates resembling the ones in which they thrived. The three most colossal creatures within that tropical biosphere hold the key to a drug that will bring miraculous life-saving benefits to mankind. So that's a good cast. They brought back the screenwriter of the original, and Gareth Edwards, paired with a decent script. Gareth Edwards is pretty incredible. So I'm going to say I'm cautiously optimistic. Alan, what are your thoughts?
I'm not excited about it. Jurassic World. I've seen them all. The only good one is the first one, and they just can't seem to stick the landing. I mean, Spielberg just kind of crapped it with the second one. The Dominion, the entire plot of Dominion was going back to a park. They had a good idea, this idea that dinosaurs were roaming the world with everybody, and yet Dominion, they just went back to the park plan. We built a park. We need to go in. Oh no, something went wrong. We need to get out. That's what these movies are. They've screwed the pooch. Am I allowed to say that? I'm just not excited about this series. I don't like this series where it's gone. Yeah, Scarlett Johansson, fine, but I'm just not looking forward to this. You didn't even have to read the press release. Just seeing the logo here, I'm not excited about.
Well, look, all I'm saying is that's an A-list cast. Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, A-list cast. No one from the past films is in it. New director, Gareth Edwards. Original screenwriter. I feel like they're taking it seriously. So I am cautiously optimistic, but way better. Jurassic World, they only needed one movie. The two movies that followed up were not great. Yeah. That first movie was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It was nostalgic. I like,
Well, they built the park. The first one, they actually built the park. That was the best thing about it.
Yeah, yeah. But we'll see where this goes. Who can say? Let's go to the comments here.
All right. From Uncle Remus. Hey, Uncle Remus. Jurassic Park Afterbirth. Yuck. That one would have gotten me to see the movie. Knee pain member. Hey, knee pain. You just said that. Sporting my funeral for a franchise shirt today.
By the way, that shirt no longer for sale. When we do a custom exclusive, it's only on sale for like a month, and that's it. We'll be doing that once a month on the Film Threat shop. But so knee pain, I got a shirt, I got a mug. So enjoy it, knee pain.
Yeah. Right. Always someone go on eBay, find out how much they're going for.
Subscribe to Knee Pain's channel. He's doing a lot of really interesting commentary. So there you go.
All right, C. Stein 69 for $4.99. Jurassic Park will be the closest Mahershala Ali will get to a movie with monsters with sharp teeth. R.I.P. Blade movie. Bring back Snipes.
I agree. Snipes Blade movie would be good.
Magnum Norse for $5. Rebirth sounds like Jurassic Park on Viagra.
That's right.
Sons and Shadows member for 13 months. All right. Favorite ScarJo movie?
Oh, what's that one where she's completely full frontal naked?
I haven't
Not
seen
Ghost in the Shell. It's the Underneath or something. I forget the name of that film. But yeah. I like her. I genuinely like her. I mean, Ghost World. Probably I'd say this, Ghost World, but she's not the star, and she was a kid when she made that movie. So I just love the comic. So
yeah,
Daniel Cloud.
Sorry, I'm just trying to look up the ones I've seen. Quite frankly, the two I remember other than Marvel stuff is Lost in Translation and Jojo Rabbit.
That one's really good. Those two are. I mean, Jojo Rabbit. She's a not the lead.
She's supporting. So I'm gonna go with Lost in Translation.
Look, I'm saying I like movies she's in are generally pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she's willing to do weird, small indie stuff and big budget stuff. Kudos to her. And also, I get the sense in terms of movies she chooses, she knows cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Like the actors, seriously, look at the actors who are really consistently good or like they're in good movies. They know movies. Gen Z don't know what they're doing. And we'll get to Gen Z in a moment when we talk about the Acolyte. Yeah. Let's do some comments here real quick.
Okay, Jade, the jaded filmmaker. Jurassic Park is my toxic trait. I always like it. It's good for 4DX.
Yes, see it in 4. I like 4DX.
By the way, Twisters is coming back to 4DX.
Yep, I think it's this weekend.
Yeah, and they blow wind in that one. All right, the nerd far away. Are we going to be putting the Jurassic Park franchise on trial next? I mean, do you think, other than people's love of dinosaurs, do you think the Jurassic Park franchise ever really hit its stride? I don't think so. Yeah, Scott McKenzie, member for 22 months. 8-legged freaks when she tased the dude.
Right.
Okay. Here we go. Rumble Hotep. Jurassic World Romulus. Broxham's tonight. I'm with Alan. This reboot needs to die. Bryce Dallas Howard ruined it by not watching her wait for the second reboot movie. Totally ruined the romance and chemistry of the film. Okay.
Well, there you go.
With that? I thought we got super chats with. Maybe I missed them.
Nope, we're good. Cool.
Okay,
all right.
Got it.
Look, we are going to get to film reviews today. We are getting, but we have a lot of news stories. Let's talk about Rings of Power.
All right.
And we will, I don't know, we are going to review the whole series. I don't know that we'll do it every week. We will probably we already did the first few episodes. We'll do we'll do like maybe 3 episodes where we cover the episodes in chunks, right? Including the finale.
Mm-hmm.
But Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power is already losing viewership. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, season 2, seemingly losing viewers already. Alan, if you would read this story from That Park Place, our friends at That Park Place, shout out to them. If you would, Alan, and just you can read the relevant parts of the story.
Okay, here we go. The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power season 2 already appears to be losing viewers after a single episode, despite releasing the first 3 episodes at the same time. The number of IMDb reviews for the first episode of season 2 and the third episode decreased over 50%. And there are over 3,800 reviews for the first episode of Elven King Under the Sky. The second episode only has 2,200 reviews, and the third just has 1,800. Between the first and second episodes, the number of reviews declined 42%. Between the first and third, it's 52% decline. Now, this is not scientific, but it is an indicator. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, if that is an indicator. So you had almost 4,000 reviews for the first episode, and then half for that third episode. It means fewer people are watching them and commenting, and I expect that to completely diminish as it goes. Yeah. Alan, you saw the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, not only did I see the first 2 episodes. Oh, go ahead.
I haven't yet, and I'm not saying I will. But what were your? Did it diminish in the story? Like, was it just
Yeah, I'll tell you what it felt like those first 2 episodes. I've used this analogy before, but it's like a chess game, and you're setting up the pieces. That's what it felt like. Right. You just and look, saw the first 2 episodes at the theaters 2 days ago. And then I went to see the third. After the second episode at the theater, they gave us this teaser trailer. And it was exciting. It had a lot of action behind it. And then I go home to watch the third episode, and there's very little action in it. In fact, there's an orc fight where the orcs complain about going to war, because they have families at home. And I'm like,
do they form an orcs union?
Yeah, they should. They should, because it's so unfair the way these orcs are treated. Let's see, Don Lemonless shows up in the 3rd episode. Again, it all just feels like they're setting it up, and this is the tragic nature of how we already talked about Cinephiles. The people who write this don't understand cinema, and they certainly don't understand television. Because by the 3rd episode, I should be excited about what's coming up, and all they're doing is continuing to set the stage. And I think that speaks to why the diminished reviews of this have happened, because they're 1 hour long episodes. It's a long. You've got to invest a lot of time to watch these things,
right?
And unless they're exciting you, you see it right here. You see it. People are just bailing on this show, and but of course we're racist and all that other stuff. So that must be the real reason, not being bored out of our minds.
Well, I don't assume that. I think that's a weird strategy to. It's a defense mechanism for things that are bad.
Yeah,
that's what it's become. Something is bad. The defense mechanism is no. The show isn't bad. You are bad for not liking it.
Yeah,
and that is not a winning strategy, folks. Never. It's never a winning strategy, ever.
I mean, we were at when season 1 came out, we were at an event that was honoring the actor who played Lemonless. I forget. I don't know his name.
Why do you? That's yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Gary says that, but
I know. But this is the thing. I don't remember his name. I don't remember. What am the black Puerto Rican actor? I might as well just call him Lemonless.
Anyways, you were saying.
But the thing is, this Critics' Choice thing, we're honoring his performance because he's a prominent Latino actor that year. And then he just goes into this thing about, the hate he's been getting online. And, the complaining that goes on right now is like, this has been happening since the beginning of time. You're an actor, you go and put yourself out there. Of course, people are going to hate you. You could be the greatest actor in the world. I'm sure Meryl Streep gets these kind of comments. Your show gets canceled. Oh my God. Shows on television have never been canceled until now. Again, no one remembers the past and no one understands that shows get canceled. Shows are bad sometimes. Bad shows get canceled. People don't like your performance. They're going to say stupid things. They're going to harass you. But your life can continue on and you don't have to feed into this stuff. You don't have to internalize it and then make some kind of, oh, pity me, watch my TV show next year. This is the frustrating thing about all of this.
Well, look, I think that it's, as you pointed out, Meryl Streep, everyone gets a little bit of criticism. Criticism is not hate. Criticism does not equal hate. I mean, look, I read things about myself. I read things about you as likable and nice as you are. Even you will get, you'll get some people who just will make a criticism. And I'm like, oh, that one's valid. That one's not. That's name calling.
Yeah. You can sift through this stuff.
Whatever. I mean, you have to have, there's a really great documentary about actors called Rhino Skin. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's almost 20 years old. It's a documentary, or it might be 20 years old. It's a documentary that just follows actors going to auditions and getting rejected. And at least at the time, the prevailing thought among actors is to be an actor, you must have rhino skin, tough skin to be able to handle the business. And we have actors with thin membrane at this point because they can't handle criticism. So,
yeah. Well, and the other thing is they'll take one tweet from a bot that's actually racist, and then they'll liken it to everyone who hates them.
Right.
And it's just intellectually dishonest.
They're also surrounded by a lot of people who don't tell them the truth.
Mhm.
Seriously, the managers, the agents, the producers, no one is telling anyone the truth, in particular the actors. It's this veiled lies about why the show has been rejected. So we're going to get to your comments on Rings of Power in a moment. We have another story related.
Yes.
The mainstream media shills for Lord of the Rings of Power.
Yeah. So I'm not going
to bring up that story.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. So the actual article itself is not important. It's mostly the headline and the motivations behind this.
Right. Okay.
That Rings of Power season 2 Sauron flashback almost happened in season 1. Ooh. Here's another one. Here we go. Why the Rings of Power season 2 premiere ends with an eagle. Why is the mainstream media shilling for this show? Why are they putting up articles about the appearance of an eagle at the end of the season 2 premiere? Why was the Sauron flashback put in the second season and not the first? This happened with the Acolyte. For some reason, the mainstream media is taking these dumb shows and trying to give us reasons why we should be watching this and why we should be excited. Why you Tolkien fans, an eagle. Don't you get it? An eagle appears at the end of the first in the movies. The eagles don't appear until the end of the movie, but here the eagle appears at the premiere of the second season. Tolkien fans, it's amazing to me that prominent publications like Entertainment Weekly, the other one was The Wrap, even Empire Magazine is shilling for this show. My point is we get what you're doing. We know exactly what you're doing. And you, the only reason you're doing this, you must be getting paid by Amazon, by Disney to be doing this. That's my conclusion.
Yeah, they're grasping at straws to keep it in the news, to keep it relevant. And, I think at a certain point, I think a lot of outlets, because the first three episodes have come out, I think people are already like, oh, this is just like last season when we didn't care. I really do feel it's apathy at this point. I don't know how much it damages. It'll never really damage, I think, the trilogy, the Peter Jackson trilogy, I think is Teflon. It is really, for me, and I'm a normie fan of Lord of the Rings. And I acknowledge it is the best film trilogy of all time. It really is, and that's Star Wars. We'd have to rank trilogies or like that one. It's very good. It's really hard to criticize, and it gets better with the extended versions. So, but this is just tiresome.
Yeah, but you're getting prominent publications becoming the publicity machine for these things. Right. To have a writer have to go in, create an article about the appearance of an eagle at the end of the season 2 premiere. Not only says that they're in the pocket of these studios, but that they're like you say, grasping for straws. All right, Tolkien fans, this is it. The appearance of an eagle. That's why you should be watching this show. Otherwise you're racist.
Well, I'm here at DragonCon, and the OneRing.net has a booth, and it was kind of sad. No one was hanging out at it. I don't know. There's a House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones inspired like whole display, and people were all about that. I don't know. Not a real unscientific, but I think the enthusiasm for Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power isn't there.
Yeah.
Let's go to your comments here.
Well, I was going to say just real quick. When we went to Comic-Con,
I have
how many million OSHA costumes?
Oh, by the way, I'm at DragonCon, which is a cosplay convention. It's
Right.
everyone's here dressed. 90% of the people are dressed up. Not one Acolyte cosplay. Zero.
Not even Keemer.
I went to all 3 connected hotels. There are thousands of people. Nothing.
Yeah.
We'll pivot to that when we talk about Acolyte.
Okay.
Let's get to your comments here, starting at the top.
Let's see. SDW40. I watched Rings of Power last night as a sleep aid. Yeah, I got through half of the 3rd episode and was just tired and gave up. Joe Chapman, Rings of Power, making orcs the victim of the patriarchy too. Well, Thomas Pickett, I do want to see the unionization of orcs. You have a great episode idea there. Thomas Pickett, you know what Rings of Power needs? Dinosaurs. 100%. Magnum Norse for 10. Rings of Power is worse than ringworms on Johnson. On Johnson? On Johnson? What? ADL's 24. I'm looking forward to my first prostate exam at the end of the decade more than I am this show. BMO better. Give us the chunks and give it to us raw. Thomas Pickett for 2. What are the most popular cosplays at DragonCon?
It's Deadpool and Wolverine, to be honest. They're dinosaurs, Deadpool and Wolverine. I saw a guy dressed as, I took photos, I'll post on my Twitter and Instagram, of a guy with a Wolverine outfit, but he had a skeleton of the Hugh Jackman Wolverine from the beginning of the movie. It was hilarious. So,
are the OG Avengers still popular?
There's Marvel characters are popular, but I didn't see anything from the Acolyte.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Thomas.
Carlos Alfredo Lopez. Eagles here, Eagles there, Eagles everywhere. Thomas Pickett. Member Eagles? Member? And then from Spidey Sensei 72. Will any of these actors be making diss tracks or not? The street needs to know at Film Threat.
Probably not at this point. Probably not.
Yeah. It's a bad show. I don't think we hate the show like we did The Acolyte. It's just bad.
Yeah, it doesn't, because I don't think it reflects on Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think The Acolyte reflects on Star Wars as a brand and diminishes the Star Wars that came before it. Okay. Let's pivot to our last news story here. Would you like me to bring it up?
Sure.
Okay. Hang on.
Alan, you are my density. You're not going to say anything?
Yeah, I wish I was the one dying. I'm kind of proud of that one.
That was good. Yeah. I did enjoy that.
I had to come up with a punchline at the very last minute. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, this is from Star Wars Theories YouTube channel. This is from Star Wars Theories. See, I got to get the. Let me start over. All right. This is from Star Wars Theory on X. Star Wars Theory has the largest YouTube channel about Star Wars, bigger than the official Star Wars channel. He shared a Star Wars Theory says, Amanda Stenberg's response to The Acolyte being canceled. Do you agree with her? She says, paraphrasing, that the show suffered from tons of vitriol, bigotry, and racism and hate from the alt-right, which essentially is what got it canceled. I don't know about all that. I just thought it was a poorly written show that was boring and effed with the lore. I'll have a video response up soon. I have a couple things to chime in on. Now, this is Amanda Stenberg. This video is 8 minutes. We may end up playing the whole thing.
Okay.
But we still have films to review. But let's take a look at this. I'll stop at certain points, but take a look at this. And it's a typical, she's doing her hair, which makes her, kind of human, I guess. She's doing a sort of mundane thing while talking to you. But I want to remind people, she's a millionaire. And she has the luxury, I guess, of being able to express her opinion here. She has a right to her opinion. Let's take a look.
However, I feel okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Hello. I thought I would get on here and just speak candidly. I hate doing this. But I'm gonna do it. I don't use social media very much anymore. And I'm so happy about that. But there are many folks out there that I want to acknowledge and I want to show appreciation and love and support for. So that's why I'm hopping on here to talk about this, which is that our Star Wars show has been canceled. And I'm going to be transparent and say that it's not a huge shock for me. Of course, I live in the bubble of my own reality, but for those who aren't aware, there has been a rampage of vitriol that we have faced since the show was even announced, when it was still just a concept and when no one had even.
Do you remember, were people criticizing? I think the only thing people criticized about the Acolyte was the Star Wars Celebration presentation where they did. Where Yaz came in, and they said it was talked about Star Wars being a patriarchal franchise, and this is a show about women, made by women, and there's a matriarchy that's part of it. I think people were that was a red flag. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, I remember that, but then again, I forgot it when the show finally came out.
Well, yeah, then you judge the show for what the show is.
Yeah, I got to take a phone call real quick. So
okay, sure. I'm gonna keep playing this. So, and then we'll
seen it. And that's when we started experiencing a rampage of, I would say, hyper conservative bigotry and vitriol, prejudiced hatred and hateful language towards us. And this really affected me when I first got the job, because it's just not something, even though I anticipated it happening, it's not something you can fully understand what it feels like until it's happening to you. However, I feel like I've kind of moved through those feelings in various ways, including being vocal about it myself. For me, it just became a situation where there was no option but for me to honor my sense of ethics and my belief system and my value system.
She has a right to have these views.
Mm-hmm.
I think her views may be skewed by the bubble. She mentions being in a bubble. These views are skewed from hearing only people tell her positive things, only people from the show and Lucasfilm, because it's weird. If you've ever been on a film set, celebrities or the talent are treated very differently. They are, everything that comes to them is filtered. Any thoughts on what we've seen so far? We're only about a third of the way through this.
I mean, it's, I'll just say this. It's sad that someone so young is already thinking this way, that this line of thinking is something she's going to carry into adulthood. And it's sad. And as you say, it's what separates actors from the rest of us. Because we've actually lived lives. I've never been on a hit TV show. I've never been on a failing TV show. I've had to get jobs and support families and live day-to-day life, buy my own groceries. And I don't know what we're doing to theater kids nowadays, but it's not good.
Let's continue.
While being in this very unique position, it was kind of like I had this very unique experience of experiencing the world at large, which is, of course, hyper divisive right now, through the lens of this very, very unique opportunity of being in Star Wars. And it brought up a lot for me, a lot socio-political dynamics, a lot about my own value system, how I respond to that kind of hatred, how I move through the world at large.
I want to point out, she's not the first Black actor who's been in Star Wars. Billy D. Williams was in Star Wars in 1980. Samuel L. Jackson was in Star Wars in 1999. Obviously, the sequel trilogy was very diverse. I don't. So again, she is allowed to have these opinions, and I can see why she's come to the conclusion she's come. What makes me sad is this: she has no real friends who will tell her the truth. What I feel very fortunate is that I have a lot of real friends who would call me out on my BS, including Mr. Alan Ng, including Dante or Gary from I'm so aware that I have friends who call me on my BS. I try to check myself so my friends don't have to do that to me. And I get the sense that she's in a bubble with no real friends, only friends that validate what she already thinks, or her manager, agent, whatever, who are just telling her, it's not her fault, which it actually is not. When it comes to the actors, you cannot blame the actors. Even though I thought she was not a standout, she was not really good in the film, the series. I'm sorry, she was not.
But it was the script she was given. Let's be honest.
Yes, the scripts, she didn't have a lot to work with. So, there you are. And you had a really inexperienced people making a TV show. Let's be fair.
With an agenda.
Yeah, with an agenda. So I don't know if you have any comments.
Yeah, let me just say this.
Please.
You just mentioned that me and Dante and Gary, we call you out on your bullshit. The thing is we've never called you out on your bullshit because you've never really said anything that required us to call you out. And I'll say this:
we've gotten in fights on the show, but it's over.
It's about movies. It's about movies and TV. We're not. It's not about race. And the reason why we don't really call each other out is because we believe in this concept called common sense.
Right.
We've had this common sense since childhood, since the 70s and 80s and until now. We understood that Billy D. Williams was added to Empire Strikes Back because the first film was a completely white cast, and it needed some kind of flavor and excitement to it. And
let me put a pin in what you're saying right now. Lucas wanted more. It was the studio.
Yeah,
he wanted Toshiro Mifune to play Obi-Wan, an Asian actor, and they wouldn't let him. And also where he shot in London,
not a lot of
locals.
Yeah,
So to be fair,
but that speaks to
George Lucas.
I'm sorry.
Okay. George Lucas recognized that, and so he wasn't like I think that Lucas is unfairly criticized. He had 3 sets of a trio of Han, Luke, and Leia. He had other actors, and it was of its time, you can say, but Toshiro Mifune was his pick to be Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So,
but the common sense back in the 70s and 80s was that yes, the studios were racist at the time. That people of color, minorities were exploited at times, were not used, were favored over white people,
given fewer jobs for sure.
in the 70s and 80s. And
Yeah.
the idea that those ideas that people just want to see white people, or that black people and minorities can't act, is not true today. And for her to complain today about, being a minority actor starring in a television show and people not liking it, for them to say that this is racism, it just shows that they have no common sense. And and we've talked about this several times, but we are closer to equality today than we have ever been. And it is people who want to continue the division that keeps us from crossing that hurdle and just saying, look, we're Americans. That's a period. We no more conversation beyond that.
Let's continue. And then we have a lot of comments. We will get to my promise. And then we have movies to review.
I know.
There we go.
There's a reason why we're pushing movies off.
And it just became inarguable for me at a certain point that in order to continue to be myself, I would have to honor my value system by being vocal, even within the context of working for Disney and working within the large, massive IP that is Star Wars. On that topic, I just have to say it has been an incredible honor and dream for me to be in this universe. It still feels, even though, of course, I'm very sad about the show being canceled, and I'm sad about us not being able to give people who are invested into it more, because they'll just feel a lot of levity and joy around the fact that I got to experience it, and that people loved it, and that people were so responsive. I poured through a lot of different iterations of fan art and ship art and fan theories and things that were just so beautiful and filled my heart with joy. And I just want to let those people know out there who supported us in that way, and supported us vocally, despite and in the face of all of the vitriol that we received and the kind of the targeted attack, I would say, we received by the alt-right, just that you were deep.
Alt-right? It seems so. Was all the criticism from alt-right?
Yeah, what alt-right values? She talks about value system. What
it seems like such values? It seems like a dated term. Like,
well, it's lazy. It's like, I did a great job, but the racists hate me. So she can't come to the grips that A, the show is bad, and that B, her performance may not have been the greatest. And quite frankly, I'll just say this: her performance, it's clouded by a bad script and bad direction.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
Really loved and appreciated, and it made this job all the worthwhile for me, and it made all of the challenging elements of it completely worthwhile for me. And so that, plus my love of sci-fi and fantasy, and being able to be a part of the legacy of something that I so deeply value, and something that means so much to me, and I've looked up to for so long. So I also just want to say thank you to Lucasfilm for just being a fucking awesome team. They were so wonderful to work with, and just everybody that I worked with in Lucasfilm, particularly Rain Roberts, my producer, was just had such like vision and hope and like such a mission for what we were going to continue bringing into the sci-fi universe.
Yeah.
Right. So is she accepting an Emmy right now?
Yeah, it sounds like it. There will be no Emmy nominations for the Acolyte. That is my prediction.
There will be.
Zero.
No, there will be. They have to
You think so?
They have to own the chuds, and so they're gonna give it Emmy nominations.
Ugh, let's finish this.
And it was a really beautiful, energizing, life-changing experience to be a part of. And I have to thank Leslie Headland, who I just fucking love that bitch. She just, excuse my French, she's just one of the best people in the world. I think she's so incredibly talented and unique and kind. And I'll love her forever. And I love this experience with her forever. But at the end of the day, I also just want to thank everybody who watched it. Thank you for being so loving and supportive.
She's thanking us, Alan, because we watched every episode.
We did. In fact, we encouraged people to watch that third episode.
By the way, this still right here where we've stopped it, that's on the thumbnail for the clip. Glenn, did you hear that?
You're evil.
That's the thumbnail.
You're pure
all right,
evil.
let's keep going here.
And excited and nerdy and awesome and
oh my god, you're so young.
I'll continue to process this for a long time. But maybe the last thing I want to say on the subject is that we all exist in the context of all in which we live. But I'm serious. It's not lost on me how the way that these events have unfolded is also due to the hyper divisiveness of the time that we live in, that is driven, I would say at this point, by echo chambers of thought and algorithms that reinforce our biases.
Irony.
And I think that applies to everybody. But I think that in a particular sect of people, it manifests as a lot of...
It's ironic she's saying that.
I know. At least she recognizes that.
Well, does she? I don't, again.
Well, she just said it. It's like everyone does it, but in a particular segment of that,
It's the I'm right and you're wrong. And that doesn't work. All right, let's keep going. Yeah.
Fear for what is changing, and a lot of hatred for anything that is other.
No, hatred for what?
And I would challenge us all and challenge myself to continue questioning what it is that I digest, and think critically about what shapes it. And let's vote, y'all. Let's vote. Let's vote. I think that's all I have to say. Well, this is 10 minutes long. We'll see if I post this. Bye.
All right.
I love it. The cancellation of this show is a reason to vote for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, you sort of, yeah. Oh, what? I think we've said it. She has a profound lack of people in her life to tell her the truth. And to me, in order to create even good art or great art or a competent TV show, you need people telling the truth. That lighting looks awful. That hairstyle she spent 10 minutes on is not very flattering. I think the hairstyle is not flattering. I think the hair she had in her diss track was better. You need people, you need to surround yourself with people willing to tell you things you don't want to hear, because that's the very thing you do need to hear. Final thoughts, Alan, before we go to comments.
Yeah. You talk about this echo chamber. This entire cast and crew and set of the Acolyte. The echo chamber, the message in the echo chamber is our shit don't stink. Everyone in this show believed that they were making the greatest Star Wars ever, along with making the gayest Star Wars ever. But all of them, just the reactions. They just believe that we made the best thing ever, and they don't understand why people don't like it. And when told that we don't like it, and then when given reasons why we don't like it, they label you alt-right just so they can dismiss everything you've just said. And that is a shame here, because I don't understand it. But again, television shows have been canceled for decades.
Right.
No show has ever lasted forever except wrestling. And
or The Simpsons.
Or The Simpsons. And the idea that that to react this way because your show got canceled, I've never seen a reaction like this in my history of watching television. And I've had great shows that I loved be canceled mid-story, so I don't know how it's gonna end.
Right.
And guess what? I just went on with life and moved on to another show. So again, what are we doing to our youth? This is why our youth are so messed up right now, because they can't take criticism, and we refuse to allow them to take criticism.
Let's go to your comments here, starting with supers and members.
Yes. Red Dave, member for 19 months. Thank you, Red Dave. Catching up on all your streams lately. Really enjoy Versus, some great convos. Thanks for introducing me to birthday boy Robert Meyer Burnett. You are all awesome. Yes, and happy birthday, Robert Meyer Burnett.
And also thank you for that. Also, Versus Monday will be a Labor Day Alan solo stream special at a special time. Might be earlier, we don't know. It's around Alan's schedule, so he will do a live 1 hour ish Alan talking about, and so we'll do that on holidays. Then Versus comes back the following week, and we're talking Rings of Power.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a movie pizza review. Movie theater pizza. Red Dave for €2, unless you guys don't want it. Then Lori wants it. Please don't waste your time watching Rims of Sour.
That's crazy.
You guys voted for it. That's why we're doing it. All right, Krizik for 10 Film Threat memberships. Welcome aboard,
Krizik.
Big Marv 499. Your show was canceled because your show lacked heart and didn't draw us in and pushed us away. But don't worry, season 2 is coming.
We are making season 2.
Yep.
It's coming. So there you go.
Yeah. Andrew Cram for 10. Never play that again.
Yeah, sorry about that, Andrew.
Sorry. Benjamin for 5. Since we are all alt-right now, how many tiki torches should I buy, and when is the march?
I don't know. I've gone to barbecues with people who have tiki torches. It's now annoying that that's affiliated. I guess it's so stupid.
Again, it's a reason why I don't have to listen to you. That's
exactly.
Suns and Shadows for 10. We appreciate our shows we loved. This is why we have our channel, to remember, relive, and enjoy memories of great shows canceled. Not chilling, but this is why we do what we do. Absolutely.
Let's start from the top with non-supers.
Yeah, MK Solid. She gives you a lecture about ethics and race, and she's only 25. It's so infuriating. Yeah. Indie Reds fan. Bad writing was the cause of the failure of the Acolyte, but folks tie the show would rather blame the far-right boogeyman. Andrew Cram. Amandla is a child living in her own bubble of reality. Suns and Shadows. She's reading a script, playing with her hair, high as a kite. This does not feel sincere or real. No one speaks or talks like this. Theater kids do. Dear God.
Yeah, I was going to say theater kid.
If you've ever hung around with theater kids. ADLS24. Chris has a level of self-awareness Amanda could never dream of.
Well, sometimes I think too much self-awareness can be crippling, in that I tend to overthink things rather than just do something I should do. And so sometimes it's all about balance. So, but thank you, ADLS24. I appreciate that.
Knee pain. She needs to replace her manager. I think the real villain is someone off camera pulling her strings. Part of me is like, where are her parents? Or worse, what are her parents teaching her? MK Solid, she has a child's voice while she lectures us, like Greta Thunberg. Sorry. Geek True 64, member for 16 months. Thank you for your support. Had to cancel my DragonCon trip. How is it so far?
So far, amazing. It's awesome. I'll be at the Pulse Lounge at the Marriott later tonight. So yeah, you're missing out, man. DragonCon is back.
Yes.
So there you go.
What's amazing is when I go with you to other conventions, the most exciting conversation you have are with people who went to DragonCon and met up with you there.
Right. Well, because it's crazy fun. So, okay, we have 3 films to review before we end the show today. 3 films in theaters. Let's do Tokyo Cowboy. I have not seen this.
All right. Let me
I'm surprised that I have not seen it.
Okay, whoops. Almost there. There we go.
Okay.
We do the big one here.
Here
All
we
right,
go.
Tokyo Cowboy. So I saw this way back at Newport Beach Film Festival. It was running the indie circuit for a while. But this is a story of Hideki, who is a successful businessman in Japan. He works for a big corporation, and that corporation is a food corporation. And what they do is, you know the story. Corporations buy small businesses, leech it for its resources. If they can't use you, then they just cut you loose. And that's what happened to this small farm in Montana. This Japanese food conglomerate bought a farm in Japan as a part of a bigger purchase they got. And they decided that they're just going to shut the farm down and let it die. But Hideki has an idea. He thinks that if what they could do is in Montana on that farm is to raise Wagyu beef, Wagyu cows. And so the job of them was for Hideki and Wada, his boss, to go to Montana and convince the farmers that they're going to change their entire business model and that they're only going to raise Wagyu cows. When he gets there, Wada, the guy who knows most about America and speaks English, falls ill or gets into a serious accident where now Hideki is on his own. And now Hideki, with limited English and limited understanding of American culture, has to go in and convince the farmers to change everything they do. And the story is, I would say, a more serious gung-ho version of gung-ho. It's as much as it is a comedy, it leans more toward the drama. It leans a lot to realism and really looking at issues of, basically the fish out of water story of a Japanese man trying to understand the rugged Wild West or the rugged plains of America. And it's a very sweet film. And it's very indie, meaning the shots aren't exactly the most fancy, almost kind of a cinema verite at times. But really the heart is about Hideki understanding American culture and eventually embracing it. And so I give it, this is an indie film. I gave it, let me see, I think I gave it an 8. I gave it 7.5. It's very sweet, has a good message. Tokyo Cowboy.
Well, I like a good comedy, especially awkward humor like this, a fish out of water story. So I think it looks good.
Yeah.
Let's go to comments here.
Let me see. Spidey Sensei 72, finally, an Asian themed film. Yeah, this is interesting because the directors the writers are actually American. One's an American, one's Japanese. And so a little bit of a collaboration there. Robert Thomas Watson, Brokeback on Mount Fuji. Mike MC Wong, director, was at AMC Burbank 8 giving out t-shirts and talking to film goers. Movie was great. Was a great fish out of water story. And Brock Samsonite, so Japanese city slickers without jokes. There are jokes, but it's not, it's not Hollywood joke writers. Let's put it that way. They're finding humor in the situation. Yul-Todded does.
Wait. Say that again.
Oh, Yuri Todded. Okay, got it. Yuri Todded Says, does he say USA okay? USA okay? No, I just did the racist symbol there. So there you go. I don't know. I'm getting canceled today.
All right, let's pivot to a film that I saw and Alan did not. Slingshot. Slingshot is a science fiction movie. It is about a young astronaut, John, played by Casey Affleck. He is on a vital mission along with Nash and Captain Franks. Nash is played by Tomer Capone from The Boys. He's Frenchie from The Boys. And Lawrence Fishburne plays Captain Franks. John has awakened from one of several of the deep sleeps that are required to get this far across the galaxy. They are going to Jupiter to do a slingshot to Titan to get further into the galaxy to find a planet for that can that is good for humans. In his deep sleep, and with the drugs they're giving him for the deep sleep, somehow are messing with his head. He has visions on the spaceship. He's seeing things. Are the things he's hearing the other crew members saying, are those real? He has memories of a girl, Zoe, who was a scientist he fell in love with before he took off on this mission. They fell in love, had a torrid affair. This is shown in flashbacks and kind of his dreams. So flashbacks and dreams kind of merge in a sense. Zoe is played by Emily Beecham. It's a very claustrophobic sci-fi thriller set all on the spacecraft and then with these memories and or dreams. And Casey Affleck, by the way, I love Casey Affleck. People forget, Oscar winner. I think he's a very good actor. He's always interesting. I really loved a Casey Affleck film that maybe not a lot of people have seen. It's such a great film, is A Ghost Story, which is so good, from 2017. I love that film. And he's just in everything he turns up in. I've just really always loved Casey Affleck. Of course, Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix and so many other great things. And I'm not familiar with Tomer Capone's work, but in The Boys, I think The Boys has a great cast. And, so as Nash, he's very good. There's tension on the Starcraft because Nash doesn't think they're going to make it. The ship gets damaged on the hull. They don't know if the hull is going to hold. And Nash is not in favor of continuing the mission. They have enough fuel to get back home if they turn around. Lawrence Fishburne as Captain Frank says, no, we're going to do it. It's not a big deal. And conflict arises between the crew about should they continue this very dangerous mission into space. This is all from John or Casey Affleck's point of view. And you could just say this. As a science fiction film, it's interesting for about the first 30 minutes. I'm giving it like some leeway here. I want to see what happens. But the thing that was the biggest weakness of this film was not the actors' performances. I thought they were fine. It's the production design and the directing. This sci-fi looks so cheap. They sit at the command center of this vehicle. They're sitting in front of what can only be described as gaming monitors and gaming setups. I'm serious, with these chairs sitting in front of big monitors where they're controlling the ship. It looks so cheap. We just saw Alien Romulus, which is the production value was incredible. Alien Romulus, I don't think anyone criticized the production, the practical effects. Alien Romulus was amazing. This is cheap AF. I was so disappointed. And it gets so predictable in the third act. No spoilers, but my God, the way they resolved it, I could describe this as like it's like an episode of Black Mirror. It's not even as good as that. In spite of good performances from the actors, this is a 4 out of 10. Real disappointment. Not worth seeing in theaters. It's barely a streaming movie. So while I'll see anything sci-fi or horror, don't bother with Slingshot.
The way you talk about it feels like indie filmmakers could have done this better.
Yeah, it's very indie, but the production design was so cheap. They made like one hallway and 2 rooms.
Yeah.
And they spent all the money on the actors.
Yeah.
So nothing was memorable. Not the effects, not the story seems rehashed from other movies I've seen that are very much like this. So again, not impressed. And even though Casey Affleck, I think, is very good. See A Ghost Story. That's an indie that he was in that is so amazing. A Ghost Story, where he plays literally someone has a sheet on him. He's a ghost. It's so emotional and impactful and artful. Love that movie. This could have been something like that, but just bad choices. We've seen student productions, student done or short films, sci-fi films that had better production value than this movie.
Yeah, there's something about when you know going in that it's a low budget indie that you appreciate the guerrilla filmmaking tactics they use to make it look bigger, but at the same time, you give them a pass because you know that they didn't have money. Here, they had money, and they could have gone in. It sounds like they could have gone a couple extra steps here.
Well, we don't know they had money. It's possible it was very low budget, and clearly the cast was the most expensive thing.
But then it sounds like the script wasn't anything to write home about.
And also, by the way, I predicted the ending like very early on. Mm-hmm. So I was waiting and like, am I right? Am I right? Oh, I'm right. I predicted it, and you would probably too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but there also seems to be a lot of movies like this. This seems to be the new space genre, where you put people in a claustrophobic room and force them to deal with their shit.
Let's go to so this is a pass for me.
Okay.
And now we'll go to comments.
Yeah. From Thomas Pickett, sounds like a less gross Event Horizon.
Not even close. Not even as good.
Robert Thomas Watson, is this Solaris 2.0?
It's 2.0. It's 0.0. 0.0.
Nerd Far Away, who did it better, Slingshot or Passengers?
I didn't like Passengers. Passengers did it better. I'm sorry.
Sounds like they had a bigger budget on that one too.
True.
Andrew Cram, looks like any other generic sci-fi poster. Absolutely. Yes. Look at that thing.
It's floating heads and a title. If you go to Film Threat's Instagram, you should, follow that. It's all movie posters and then what Film Threat is doing. But I love movie posters. I have a huge collection. I've loved them, like the design. It's even for my films, whenever I do a poster, it's important to me. It's part of the process. So yes, look at the poster. It's generic.
Yeah, because you want to get a sense of what the story might be about.
You get nothing.
You don't get it. You get the stars. Yeah. All right. And
all right, pivoting to our last film for today. No, wait.
Yes.
Let's go to this. You know what? I should play a video. Should I play a video?
Sure. Let's play a video.
What do we? You are now in 100%.
I'm in control. I'm in charge. I'm the Master Chief. I'm the head honcho. I am so fucking Todd Ed.
City of Dreams is here. Alan, tell us about City of Dreams.
City of Dreams. You want to do it? I just saw it last night, and I'm still. Are you able to do it?
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
You would be helping me out if you did that.
Let's do it. City of Dreams is about a young boy, Jesus. He's probably around 11, 12 years old. Jesus is played by Ari Lopez. Jesus has dreams of being a soccer star in Mexico. The film opens with his dream of winning a big soccer game in front of a stadium of people. Jesus, in pursuing his dream, is going to soccer camp, and he is escorted across the border by someone who may not have his best interest in mind. He's then taken to a house where he is forced into slave labor to make clothing. And he's surrounded by some, I would say, unscrupulous individuals, including Carlitos, played by Diego Calva. He has a run-in with the police officer, Officer Stevens, played by Jason Patrick, who's a little concerned that this kid the person he's with doesn't have his best interests in mind. He works at this place with a bunch of young people who make clothing for almost nothing, and they're forced to do this labor. This movie, you could say, is sort of a sister film to Sound of Freedom. It's the same, themes and ideas. It is utterly brutal. It is Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom was about the investigation to save a group of kids being sold into
child slavery.
Okay. This is from the kids' point of view, and it does not hold back.
Sound of Freedom, I'll just say Sound of Freedom was pulling its punches compared to this film.
And this also pulls its punches, but because of the point of view, it's from the point of view of the kid. It's horrifying. He is, you see him beaten. You see other characters beaten. You see women, young girls, forced to do unspeakable things. Now I will say it does hold back in terms of, it doesn't show.
It's not graphic.
It's not graphic, but seeing a young 11-year-old Jesus, abused in this way, it's a hard film to watch. It's really hard to watch. I did go to the premiere at the Egyptian Theater for members. There is a Q&A. There's some video. I was there. I saw it with Paulie from Latino Slant. Both of us, after the film came out, and were like, we both needed a moment. It's directed by Mohit Ramchandani, and he really did not. He didn't. It's maybe minor spoilers. I'm not going to tell anything about the story, but the movie does end with a montage that's a call to action, similar to Sound of Freedom. It was revealed during the intro to the film, because Mohit tells a story about his mother, that after his mother passed away, he kept texting her for inspiration. It's a very beautiful story. And he's a Democrat. He's left-leaning. And some would say maybe the people who were involved with Sound of Freedom, I don't know for sure, maybe right-leaning. This is not a right or left issue. No. And there's a montage at the end of the film, which was very smart. It showed people on both sides of the political aisle speaking on this issue. It showed Kamala, Obama, it showed Trump and other people on Republican side. And I will say this, I spoke to the editor of this film, who may or may not be a fan of Film Threat. Okay. The editor confessed to me that they tried to find footage of Biden. he doesn't ever speak on this issue, ever. And they wanted the final montage, the call to action at the end of the film. It's not a spoiler for the story, but there's a stay at the end for this montage or this call to action. They couldn't find footage of Biden speaking on this issue at all. Make of that what you will. But there was Trump, there was Kamala. So what I'm saying is, even the director, with being left-leaning and a Democrat, we had a whole conversation. This is not a left-right issue. This is happening today in America, with slaves being forced into labor and doing unspeakable things and abused. This is an issue for our time. And look, we can talk about the past all we want. More people are in slavery today than at any time in history. The movie opens with stats and the montage at the end. But the story of Jesus, this young boy who did an amazing job, by the way, in this film. There's a chase scene in the middle of the movie that is incredible. This chase scene through a sweatshop, through the streets of downtown LA in the garment district. I've been in the garment district. It's like that. It's incredible. Sam Levine is also in the movie. Sammy Levine, shout out to him. He's a huge movie nerd, by the way. Sammy Levine knows cinema. He's also a big nerd, DC Comics. And I run into him occasionally at screenings. He is an actor in the film. He plays a loathsome person, by the way. He plays a terrible person in the film, someone running one of these shops. It's hard to say I love this film. I mean, I would give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10 for the film. This is a hard film to watch. I don't know I can ever see it again. Anything with kids being abused. So I encourage you to see it for the message, but what a rough movie on an important topic. And again, Sound of Freedom was not treated fairly by mainstream press because of what they perceive to be. It's a movie that comes from the right, so you immediately don't like it. This movie, solidly from people on the left, says the exact same thing, a different way, but it says it's the exact same message. Watch this movie get embraced by the mainstream. Watch it get more press, because, and even at the Q&A, which is on for members only, I captured most of it, and it was on. Tony Robbins was there doing the Q&A. Vivek Ramaswamy actually helped with the film, and the guy even said, the director said, Mohit, he was like, I wasn't sure, Vivek. It's like, but he was like, he was very much like a uniter, the director, in terms of like, everyone needs to get behind this issue to help us solve it. And it was a really important message. So I'll say movie rough to watch. Very good film. From the POV of a child, like, this film is brutal, and I guarantee it was pulling punches. As brutal as this movie is, it was pulling punches. Alan, what did you think of City of Dreams? And by the way, quick one last aside. This movie specifically goes after the city of LA and California. California, this is happening probably more than any other state. It's horrifying. This thing at the end, the call to action, is a montage of news reports about this. It's not taken seriously. It needs to be addressed. Alan, what are your thoughts on City of Dreams?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'll start by saying you should see this movie because of the subject matter. I've been reviewing for Film Threat. I've come across many documentaries about child slavery, and it is very real. And you're right, in terms of California, it is a big deal. And weirdly enough, there are 2 documentaries about slavery going on in Africa right now. It's a problem. and it's a problem that this movie, the reason this movie exists is to bring the problem to the forefront again. We need to constantly be bringing this to the forefront. And it is brutal. It is a tough watch. And so see it. You need to see this movie. Let's talk about the film though itself as a film. It's very interesting the way this movie was shot, because his dream is to become a soccer player. And I think a lot of this movie felt like it was a dream, the way it was shot, the colors.
Yeah.
You can see the color tone in the poster here. This is, when Jesus is in the sweatshop, he's locked in. He's, it's a darkened room. He barely sees sunlight. Also, the director uses wide angle lenses a lot, which kind of leads into that that dreamlike aspect. And there are dreams in this as well. Some not just dreams about becoming a soccer player, but nightmares too. And it's sort of alluded to, but the nature of his birth, and then also kind of the evil that goes on in these sweatshops. And I find it interesting because, I wrestled with it in the sense of, I was wondering if a more traditional filmed, in a more traditional way that this film could have been done, or whether this kind of dreamlike element to it is more compelling. And the more I think about it, I think I like the way it was done. And I think the fear is if you make it too much like a dream, it pulls you away from the true brutality that is going on. And maybe that was the point. Maybe he didn't want to get you too close to the situation to the point that it would turn you off. And so by creating a kind of a distance with this dream aspect, allows you to watch what's happening, but still stay with the movie. I don't know. Did they talk about that at all in the Q&A?
Yeah, well, it's on the. You're a member of the Film Threat channel. You can watch it, but it talks about this is happening in LA now.
Yep,
like LA now as we speak. This is all happening. I like what you said. You pointed out the movie is very beautiful looking for such an awful topic. Like you get the sense of being claustrophobic, like with the no sunlight. They're in a house with no sun. All the windows are blocked up, so you can't even see outside. It's so dark. They work in near darkness, and it's a beautiful film about an ugly topic.
Yeah, there's one other element that I thought was interesting, but there's a cop involved who's investigating, and the politics he has to go through.
Like his hands are tied as a police officer to even investigate something.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they included that storyline of the cop, because
and then his woke partner was even more.
Yeah, he has. Yes, actually, his partner is super woke, and it's just like, oh no, and he just So
it's handled really well. I was almost annoyed with this character, and then it came through.
Yeah,
character came through at the end of the movie.
And I will say, it's like I'm surprised. I wouldn't have known if I didn't go to the premiere that the film was made by a left-leaning filmmaker. It doesn't feel that way, but it's also, this movie is common sense. So I please support this movie.
Yeah.
And if it's showing in your area, it's very indie. And I hope this somehow at least brings awareness where our elected officials will do something about this. So,
yeah.
It's
sorry to be pessimistic, but yeah.
Yes, I know. I mean, how many movies have to get made before this, where something will actually be done?
Yeah,
let me say this. If you look, there are a lot of topics that films have. I mean, I can't tell you how many documentaries I saw about the legalization of pot. Okay. Now it's there for good or bad, right? We saw a lot of documentaries about gay rights. Okay. I think gay rights were pretty there with that. So I do think movies can have an influence. What's this, Alan?
Yeah. So this is a movie I reviewed, California's Forgotten Children. This is about sex slavery in California. It's very comprehensive, and it came out in 2018. Just to show you what that's how long ago. That's 6 years ago. The problem is still there, and the filmmakers were really appreciative of our coverage of their film. They were able to kind of tour the state with it, but you just feel a sense of hopelessness sometimes that nothing is changing, and that's why these movies are important. We've got to let people know it's out there and do something about it.
What would you give if you had to do a number scale on this? I said between 7 and 8 out of 10. That's
Yeah. I'd give it an 8, definitely.
okay.
I mean, it's an emphatic yes. You need to see this, and I hope it doesn't. I hope if left leaning, if Democrats were making this, I hope it gets better coverage than Sound of Freedom. But knowing Hollywood and knowing the system, it's going to get zero coverage.
Let's go to your comments here.
All right, a Red French Moon. It's football.
That's
It's
right.
soccer.
I'll stand corrected. Football.
Yeah, it's Kamala, not whatever. Mob 19001. Movies that make you feel uncomfortable are great. Movies should make you feel. Period. Uncomfortable is good too. Jimmy Francis. These films are super important. Sound of Freedom might be one of the most important films of our time.
Then you should see this as well.
Yeah, Yuri Totted. So this slavery stuff in LA or in Mexico?
It's LA. It's LA.
But where's the supply comes from?
Yeah, where does it originate? In Mexico and then brought here.
Yeah. I think what the movie points out is I believe the father sold his son and then used soccer as kind of the ruse to get him to travel to the United States. Chelsea M. My husband has family in Argentina, and in the airport, there's a screen showing missing people and the most wanted fugitives. Was disturbing and sad to see how many of those missing were children.
Yeah.
I mean, in the news recently, ICE has lost 35,000 children, unaccompanied minors, and they don't know where they are.
Right.
Andrew Cram, I'm told. Joe Chapman, This is when films are a message, a very important one.
Well, it's also a message everyone can get behind. Mm-hmm. You don't need to have a political affiliation. That's why I think the closing montage of this movie, the sort of tag at the end of the film, because the film ends, I don't want to say how the film ends, but you needed like something like that. It's so heavy that I like this montage at the end that showed you current day and the reality, because the movie is fiction. It's, Sound of Freedom was based on real events. This is not. It's an amalgamation of things that are real, but it's not a real story of a person named Jesus. Mm-hmm. So, go if you're, and I want to thank Big Marv for becoming a member. Go to our members only video section, and look at the Q&As and everything. There's a lot of videos posted for members, that you can see, including the Q&A for this movie. And we need Zorro, says Thomas Pickett. Right. I agree. And that wraps it up for us today. Alan, what do you have coming up this weekend?
Not much. I'll say this, for those of you who pray, you could be praying for my wife right now. Things have turned in a direction we weren't anticipating, and so your prayers are highly coveted. So that's what I'm doing this weekend, and and I'll see you on Monday, hopefully.
I didn't know if you want to talk about that, Alan, but I'd say everybody, Alan needs your support.
My wife needs.
Yeah, Alan's wife and Alan, by the way. You're
and
always
for that matter.
I'll just say you've always been strong through family strife and whatnot. You take it with a grain of salt, and you are the pillar for your family, and I really admire you for that. So
someone's got to be. That's kind of the attitude I've had to take. It's like someone's got to step up and keep everything together.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
how do you even? I feel like
you don't.
you
You go day to day. That's the problem. That's the tough part. It's just like you just go day to day. What's happening today? What has to be taken care of today?
Yeah. Well, I'll just say to everyone, thank you for your super chats. Thank you for your support watching the show. I know we review a lot of movies that are kind of outside the mainstream, and
Oops, sorry.
Oh.
No, that was nothing.
And it's all good. And we appreciate that you support these types of films. Strange Darling is still in theaters. I just saw Robert Meyer Burnett's stream about that. He's as passionate as I am. So check out.
I'm passionate about that movie too.
I love it. So please, see a movie in a theater this weekend and make your choice. Hopefully we guide you towards good choices. I want to thank our mod, Lord Thoth today, Atomic Glory, Glenn Nuccio. Have a great Labor Day weekend. I will be at DragonCon. I'm at DragonCon all weekend. So I'll see you at the panel at 4 p.m. Eastern time today. And I'll see you all weekend at the con. Alan will be doing a solo versus on Monday, hopefully. We'll let you know if he, but hopefully you could just spend some time talking to people, get a break at whatever time is convenient. But a Labor Day stream on the holiday. And yeah, that's it. Maybe that's a heavy movie and some heavy stuff. So we have to. Well, there you go. We'll be back next week.
Alan, you are my density.
Yeah.
Alan?
Hopefully, I'll have seen Afraid and Reagan by next week.
Yeah, Afraid and Reagan we're gonna review next week.
Plans got changed last night, so I wasn't.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I'll be able to see them as well. We will we'll do that next Wednesday, back to normal.
Yep.
So cool. Alan,
Let's get out of here.